Thank you so much, Kaylee. Right now, I'm going to welcome Charlie Safro, who is a founder and CEO of Supply Chain Recruiting in Chicago, Illinois. Welcome to the program, Charlie. How are you today?
I am doing well. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Thanks for coming on. Let's talk about something that is, in my mind, it's a tricky subject, right? But we're talking about authentically checking in on your employees, and that authentically is the highlighted word in my mind, right? Check in and actually mean it, right, with purpose.
Yep. Exactly. I mean, you have to think about employee wellness and what your team wants and needs to feel from leadership. I mean, everyone in any position wants to feel mentally sound. They want to feel, financially stable, but even more so when people are appreciated, that's when they're motivated to do good work because they feel supported, they feel their purpose, they feel the impact of their work. And when their employer is cognizant of that and really doing everything they can to avoid burnout, that's when you're going to get the most production and the highest performance. There's no question about it.
Charlie, thank you for coming on. I know that this is something that you're super passionate about, and I'm really passionate about it too, being fairly new into entering the corporate workspace, right? Is that a lot of times when you're in the work zone, you feel the pressure to be in the zone all the time, right? And you have to kind of take a break from the outside world, the outside news. Sometimes the world can feel really heavy and it can feel kind of like crap, right? And how do you make space for your employees to kind of have those feelings and process those emotions even in the workspace and make them know that you don't have to be on 100% when things aren't 100% good in the world?
Yeah, I think that's such an important point. And a lot of this just comes down to normalizing these conversations in the workplace. Mental health is, very much a taboo topic, and it shouldn't be. People need to express their feelings. Employees are so much more than just their title. And I think a lot of times people forget that. You look at a person based on what their role and responsibilities are, and you forget that there's more to them, and they've got a lot going on behind the scenes. So it doesn't need to cost a lot of money. I think a lot of times when people think about my employer or how do I support my team with mental wellness, let's give them a stipend for therapy. And that is a solution, and I'm sure that's appreciated, but there's so many other simple things that employers can do to normalize these conversations and help employees feel psychologically safe and really sound in that work environment.
So, Charlie, let's say somebody's watching this and they have the epiphany saying, hey, she's absolutely right. I need to make this turn. And they're in charge of a company that maybe isn't, so good at keeping up with their employees or making them feel welcome, et cetera. How do they make that change so that it comes across as authentic, as real?
Absolutely. And I can speak to some of the things that we do with our team. We've got about 40 people on our team. We're a virtual company, so it's even more important to stay connected. So some of the very simple things we do are, first, we have a no email after 6 p.m. policy. And luckily, we all work in the United States. So from a time zone standpoint, anything can wait till the next day. And that is something that our team is very mindful of, is get your work done during the day. If you choose to work after hours, schedule that email to go out the next day, but don't make your work someone else's problem at 8 or 9 p.m. at night. I think that has made a huge difference for our team, just to show them that we respect them and that we want to do what we can to help them avoid burnout. Being a remote company, I'm not going to say that that's for everyone, but that certainly takes a lot of the pressure and stress off when you think about no commute, not having to pay for gas, having that flexibility to work in your home environment and get other stuff done throughout the day. And as long as your work is done, I'm really flexible about that. We do summer Fridays, again, giving our team an opportunity to reset. Doesn't mean that they work less or don't work as hard. It's just the trust in them that if they do their work, we want them to take a break at the end of the week, enjoy this weather that we don't always have. In addition to that, something that's so simple and so effective is just having your leadership team conduct one-on-ones with the employees. Our leadership team, there's 4 of us on it. Every quarter, we are meeting with every employee for 15 minutes. And the one rule we have going into these meetings is no work talk allowed. So I'm not, forcing anyone to tell me anything personal that they don't want to share, but I'm giving them a forum and starting this conversation with, how are you? What's going on with you? I want to know who you are behind your title. And just again, having that dialogue creates that security and that feeling that that employee, if they do have an issue or they do want to talk about a topic that may not be normalized to discuss in the workplace, that we're here for them, that we're here to listen, that it's a judgment-free zone. So those are just some very simple things. There's a lot more I could list off, but I think the key is it doesn't always have to cost a lot of money. It doesn't have to be a program. It's just the little things that add up that really will help employees just manage their mental health and their mental wellness. And that is so important, especially right now with everything going on in the world.
So speaking to some of those things that are going on in the world, it feels like we've been living through like 2.5 years of unprecedented times, right? And there's that meme out there that's like, man, I really just would love some precedented times. And that can be heavy on people. It can weigh a lot on your heart and on your mind, and it can have a really huge impact on your performance, and that can lead to employees kind of demanding some support from their companies as well. And oftentimes companies, whether they're publicly traded or in the public eye or very small businesses, they'll kind of want to take a step back and they'll say, you know, like, we're apolitical, or we don't want to be polarizing, or we don't want to come out and openly say that we support our employees and their needs because that could be seen as taking a stance. Is there a way to provide support for your employees and let people know that you care about them and you support them, but still walking that fine line of being political and polarizing? Or do you think that sometimes we need to take that step and you say, you know what, we're taking a stand, I don't care if we're political or not?
That's such a timely topic, Kaylee. I mean, I'll tell you that yesterday I posted something on LinkedIn about our support for our employees with everything that went down on Friday. And I thought a lot about it. I knew I was going to get some backlash, but at the end of the day, it wasn't about politics or religion for me. It was an ethical decision to support our employees, to make the best decisions for their bodies. As a female and a female leadership team, and we've got a lot of women in our company, we need to put that message out there, and I'm not afraid. And I'll tell you, I'm watching my LinkedIn follower count drop like crazy today, but my prerogative is if you don't want to see that, then you shouldn't follow me. I don't need to be in your feed, but that is one area where I'm not going to back down. I do believe that our employees, they're mature. I hired them because I trust them to make professional decisions. So why wouldn't I trust them to make their own personal decisions? I think when people go out to look for jobs, there aren't going to be people looking at, specific abortion policies. What they're going to look at is how do these companies treat their employees as a whole? What is the culture? What is the message? What are their values? How do they live by their values? And again, I think all those little things add up. And I'm very confident that in the end, the employers that take care of their employees and are vocal about it are the ones that are going to rise to the top. Those are going to be the organizations where people want to work at and they're pursuing opportunities to work there, but also the organizations where people stay. And that is so key right now, is doing whatever you can to retain your employees, because we all know it's still a candidate's market. There are options, but you have to take a stance if you really want to create that brand and not let perceptions form. Employers have to be in control of that brand. And the best way to do it is to share publicly. And yes, you have to be sensitive about what you're sharing, but it's a courageous act, I think.
Yeah, it certainly is, but it's one where, if you're honest with the beliefs of the company and the mission of that company, then you will attract those employees that agree with that, and the culture is that much stronger. Charlie, thank you so much for coming on the program today. You have a wonderful rest of your day. Right now, let's toss it over to Izzy in the social roundabout.